what currently pertains in Swaziland is a system of governance that benefits and is supportive of this absolute monarchy, where the king is accountable to himself, can ultimately rule by consulting whoever he wishes or without consultation with anyone.
At 18, Mswati Dlamini, known as King Mswati III, quickly consolidated power. Within a month of ascending to the throne, he appointed a new prime minister and reshuffled Swaziland's cabinet.
My experience is short, and I'm new to this task. I have, in my predecessors, an example I can follow.
Mswati III's inaugural words were literal. His father, King Sobhuza II, died in 1982 and was known for resisting modernists aiming to diminish the king's role to a mere constitutional monarch.
So interestingly enough, a condition of independence from Britain in 1968 was for Swaziland to have a multi-party system. However, in reality, the system was just a fabrication dominated by the royal Dlamini clan.
The clan was represented by the Mbokodvo National Movement, or the INM. It lost 3 seats to the opposition, ending their parliamentary majority in 1972. This prevented the INM, and by default the king, from making uncontested constitutional amendments and passing new laws.
So consequently, in April 1973, King Sobhuza II suspended the constitution of Swaziland. Ironically, the king claimed that the constitution introduced unwelcome political practices aimed to disrupt and destroy the Swazi's way of life and democratic political activity that causes hostility and unrest.
The Swazi king assumed all executive powers previously held by the prime minister and cabinet and ushered in an absolute monarchy, allowing him to act with impunity.
Viva Podemos, viva! Viva!
Political parties were banned, marking the end of the political freedom in the country.
The king at that stage ruled by decree. He, in effect, appointed the prime minister. He appointed parliament and the parliamentary structures of the country. He appointed judges. Interestingly enough, he also appointed chiefs at local level. And this had an impact in the experimental system of government known as Dinkundla that was introduced at that time.
During his early reign, Mswati III focused intensively on strengthening the monarchy. Marked by severe authoritarianism, corruption and opulence of the royal family, resentment and discontentment under citizens started to brew. In response to demands for democratic reform, King Mswati III appointed a Constitutional Review Commission in 1996. 7 years later, the draft constitution was released, not surprisingly granting the king absolute governing powers and banning opposition parties. Naturally, the draft constitution faced harsh criticism for lacking democratic reforms. In 2005, Mswati signed a revised version of the constitution that no longer banned political parties, however, did not acknowledge their existence either. The Internal Security Act of June 2002, which stipulated harsh penalties for anyone participating in or organizing political demonstrations and restricted labor union activity, clarified the government's stance on dissent. The ban did not, however, deter progressive forces at the time. United under a common front called the Swaziland Democratic Alliance, they have voiced criticism of the current traditional system, advocating the introduction of a constitutional monarchy. The 2005 Swazi constitution prevents rule by decree, requiring the king to collaborate with parliament when making laws. Mswati's unilateral decision in 2019 to rename the country from Swaziland to Eswatini, however, was seen to reinforce the actual powers of the monarch.
Calls for democracy in Swaziland are not calls that simply say the monarchy should be absolutely abolished, but they're calls which are saying that the monarchy cannot be an absolute power unto himself, but must be constrained by the constitution.